it's important to remember that especially after a disaster like this, some of the more vulnerable areas are also the ones that are harder to rescue afterwards. Sarai, how are you doing?
Hi,
How's everything?
fine with some drastic, dramatic news, but yeah, everything here fine.
Dramatic
How are you?
news. The same. Scared still, sort of still shaking a little bit from what I felt like, a slight shake, but the entire country of Colombia felt like the earthquake, the disastrous earthquake that it was. Because yesterday, on August 10th, Monday in the morning, uh, a magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck western Colombia. The epicenter was in near San Jose del Palmar in the department of Chocó at 7:34 a.m. Um, it was felt across, Colombia, Bogotá, Medellín, Cali, Pereira, Manizales. It was felt in Panama, and it was felt here in Quito, Ecuador. And it, as one can expect, a 7.4 earthquake, is just
Huge.
it's huge. Yeah, the human toll has risen rapidly. Reuters' latest report puts the death toll at least 254. Um, while thousands have been injured or reported missing. More than 5,000 homes have reportedly been damaged, and hospitals, airports, roads, electricity, water, and communications have been affected. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's tough.
I think we all have seen some videos, rather whether in the news or in TikTok or social media, about what's happening in Colombia and how um, big of a deal it was, because it was a hard one. It was a huge one. Um, it's for people that don't know, never been in an earthquake like this. It's hard to say to be prepared, but then when you are in the moment, you are
Hmm.
human, and the reactions are different, right?
Right.
I was hearing about the places where it took place, and could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, what's been what I think it's important to emphasize is that this happened in El Chocó, which is one of Colombia's 32 departments, which are roughly a province or a state. It's El Chocó. It occupies Colombia's western edge, and it borders Panama and the Pacific Ocean. The capital is Quibdó. Um, it's densely tropical. There's lots of rainforest, very high rainfall, uh, and many rural communities live there, and that makes it difficult for them to be reached by car. So many of them can be reached principally by river, small aircraft, or through difficult overland travel. It's a home to a large Afro-Colombian and indigenous population. So it's important to remember that especially after a disaster like this, some of the more vulnerable areas are also the ones that are harder to rescue afterwards after something like this happens. So it's really important that we remember that just as this has been disastrous for cities like Manizales, Pereira, Cali, where everybody, like the population needs all the help and the emergency assistance it requires. It needs it urgently. It's important to remember that there are also many communities that have a hard time communicating, that also need that assistance. I lost you, Sarai. Te me fuiste. A ver. Ahí
Do you hear
estás.
me now?
I hear you now.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, don't worry. So it's important to remember that Chocó may present the country's most complicated humanitarian challenge at the time. Just because, at least in the main cities, even though many of them have lost, they don't have electricity. Many of them are facing blackouts. They don't have running water, but at least they are more accessible for help to reach faster than unlike these other communities, which are harder to reach. So it's important to also communicate and emphasize the need to,
Yeah.
yeah, to remember that these communities have a harder time.
And as you say, like
Mhm.
reaching this community is already hard. And in this case, I think the time is precious because you have a very small amount of time to rescue people alive.
Right,
So in these communities that you already have this difficulty, well, we need to emphasize that, right?
right. It's really important. Yeah, exactly. And that this is Colombia's poorest region, so it's already struggling with poverty and by armed conflict. Many teams, the International Rescue Committee uh, describes Chocó as an area right now where its teams are reporting damage to hospitals and clinics and serious gaps in access to healthcare, shelter, and basic necessities. Um, so there is a problem of overlapping vulnerabilities. Poverty leads to weak infrastructure, to geographic isolation, or is caused by also geographic isolation. This is worsened by armed conflict through years, limited healthcare, but then the problem of visibility. Um, when a building collapses in a major city, journalists, hospitals, mobile phones, and government institutions nearby are ready to sort of do something about it, and that's great. That's really necessary and the least that can be expected. But when something happens to a remote indigenous or Afro-Colombian settlement that's accessible primarily by river, authorities may not even know the extent of the damage for hours or days. So it's important to keep reporting on uh, and giving visibility to these communities that were definitely also affected, but that we might not know about.
Is there any means that we can help?
The main, what according to the Associated Press, is right now the most reliable channel is like the Red Cross, the Colombian Red Cross. But also, I think this I mentioned you the I had them here. The Colombian National Indigenous Organization. They've also, which you can follow them on. I'm looking for their Instagram because they're also have organized to direct aid to these territories that have been that have been historically more vulnerable. And I think, but one initial sort of channel that has activated all of its rescue, all of its sort of mechanisms is the Colombian Red Cross.
And I think it's important to say for all the people that are inside that would
Mm-hmm.
like to help, you need to have the right gear, the right shoes, the right clothing, and also the right spirit of mind. That
Right,
you are going there. If you don't know what to do, you have to hear the people that know what to do, and you have to make what they tell you. So,
right,
because a lot of times you want to help, but you're not much help. So if you want to help, please have the right gear. I think most of the people will think about giving some water and some supplies and clothes for the people. That's really good. But right now, I think we have to think about the tools that you need so you can rescue people alive, because we have very small amount of hours. You have 72 hours to rescue people alive. So if you want to make some donations of tools and equipment, if you want to go there, please have the right gear, and please listen to the people that know what to do.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's very important because sometimes it feels like one feels impotent, right? In trying to help from far away, but there are people who know how to, first of all, how to help in the first line, but also how to direct the help that's donated or that comes from farther away. Yeah, so the Organización Nacional Indígena de Colombia, which the its acronym is ONIC, is the indigenous the the National Indigenous Organization of Colombia, and they've called for permanent communication with the Guardias Indígenas, so indigenous leaders in territory, and associated organizations to provide help to and report damages and report just health problems and just casualties to the mainstream media as well, to all possible media channels. They've also opened up channels. If you want to follow ONIC Colombia, it's ONIC_Colombia. They have multiple channels for donating uh, uh, food and other articles that can that so that they go directly to these more vulnerable areas. So if you follow ONIC Colombia, ONIC_Colombia, you'll get all this information and uh, indications on how to also transfer if you want to donate by help by donating money. Just have the information of which bank accounts you can transfer that money to make sure also that that money goes to help these communities
The right place.
to the right
How
place.
does the how does in Ecuador, how does people are reacting to this to this news in Colombia?
At first they were scared. The earthquake woke us up in Quito, at least 7.4. A 7.4 earthquake in Colombia again feels like doesn't feel as strongly in Quito, but it um, it was intense enough to wake us up. People are reacting also with it's incredible. The same happened with Venezuela. People, Latin Americans, and just neighboring countries. It's for me, it's very emotional to see how they can organize and to see them organized in order to help, their neighboring brothers. So there's also been many calls for help and donations, also through the Red Cross mostly. Um, but again, what happens is people are urging, organizers are urging uh, media and donators to not forget about these uh, local communities who were already facing armed conflict and high levels of poverty before, long before the ground began to shake. Uh,
Yeah, I'm really glad we're talking about that here.
yeah, it's important. It's important. Another venue, another media to or publication organization to follow. Actually, another or a good organization to follow today is rescue.org. This is the International Rescue Committee, and they are focusing on the most vulnerable communities in El Chocó. They catalog this crisis. at risk of they say it's at risk of deteriorating the situation in these areas in the future. Also, as it could escalate internal conflict, internal armed conflict, which has already displaced local communities and many of the nearly 3 million Venezuelans that are hosted in Colombia. Nicole Cas, country director for Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador, says again for this for the International Rescue Committee, says that local communities were already facing armed conflict and high levels of poverty long before the ground began to shake. Chocó, at the epicenter of the quake, is the poorest region in the country. So that's important. Chocó, at the epicenter of the quake, is the poorest region in Colombia. They were deeply concerned, says Nicole Cast, that today's natural disaster will make the needs on the ground even steeper and people lose access to healthcare and other essential services. Um, they've been delivering essential life-saving services to communities in Colombia since 2018, but now they need us more than ever. So it's
Yeah, so
important to remember that.
if you don't know what to do, if you think that you cannot do anything, donate.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's important to donate and take this and do it. Do not postpone it because sometimes you say, "Well, I'll do it later." Donate now. I think that's right now. Colombia and Colombians need us, and also this, especially in these areas that are more vulnerable, and have been made more vulnerable by the earthquake yesterday. One striking aspect of the disaster has been the importance of ordinary citizens in the initial rescue efforts. According also to the AP, residents have worked alongside rescuers and soldiers, sometimes and often forming human chains and moving concrete and rubble by hand while searching for survivals. Um, so the community response has been remarkable. The digital community response has also been remarkable. With thousands of people who are still unaccounted for, Colombians have created citizen-run missing persons database. The Associated Press specifically reports families using the civilian platform Colombia Te Busca to locate relatives when official systems have been overwhelmed. So again, these sort of events are just devastating, but they also show sometimes they can show the best, most beautiful aspects of organized communities and
Of
neighborhoods.
humans.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about this story in Venezuela about people calling from their phones to relatives to say that they were alive. I think this is happening also in Colombia, and it's an image that we have never had before
Right,
because we have now this technology right in our hands, right?
right.
So the capacity so the community can react and know for sure that it's someone that it's down, waiting for help, well, makes even more um, people wanting to help, right?
Yes, and like you said, we're living in very paradoxical times, right? We're on one hand we're alienated and we socialize less because of all these devices we have at our disposals to communicate. But on the other hand, we for the first time ever, people who have been caught under and who are caught under the fallen edifices and fallen
Debris.
houses, debris, and they've been able to communicate through their social media to let people know that they are underground and they're trapped, which is there's no precedent for that for us now to be able to communicate that fast under an emergency or during an emergency like this one. So it's important to pay attention to this. It's huge, 7.4 magnitude earthquake is, as destructive as you can see. It was in the news. We need to remember to remember to not forget. Let's not forget all these communities that have a harder time communicating and letting their stories known. These communities that already were facing very vulnerable conditions, and that this might just make it extremely more difficult for them to survive. They were already facing poverty and isolation. This doesn't help at all. So it's important to remember. I think we will publish and include here the information for the International Rescue Community, the International Rescue Committee, IRC, which directs most of its donations to these more vulnerable communities in the Chocó.
Yeah, thank you very much for talking about this and letting us know what's happening in Colombia.
Let us know. Let us know. And yeah, if you have other channels or organizations that can help, you can write them on the comment section. All right, Sarai. I'll see you next week.
See you next time. Yes, for maybe something
Less
different.
less dramatic. Yeah.
It's been the hard weeks.
It's
It's
these have been hard weeks. Yeah. Let's hope we get better news next time.
yeah.
All right. Ciao.
See you. Bye
See you.
bye.
See you. Bye.